What's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and share this video, because what's happening right now across Africa is not just historic, it's symbolic of a shifting political tide. The Grand Summit of Africa's liberation movements has taken place, and while it may be cloaked in the rhetoric of unity and revolutionary brotherhood, the truth is far more revealing. Behind the speeches and handshakes lies a growing fear: these aging liberation parties are losing their grip on power, and fast. Held with all the pomp and nostalgia expected of such a gathering, the summit brought together representatives from ruling parties that once led their countries to freedom: the African National Congress, ANC, of South Africa, Zimbabwe's ZANU-PF, Mozambique's FRELIMO, Angola's MPLA, Namibia's SWAPO, and Tanzania's Chama cha Mapinduzi, CCM. Once hailed as the torchbearers of Africa's independence era, these movements stood for hope, resilience, and justice. But today, they stand for something very different to millions of frustrated citizens: corruption, stagnation, and betrayal. This summit was more than a photo op. It was a crisis meeting. One that tried to mask desperation with slogans of solidarity. One that revealed the glaring truth: the old guard is terrified. Across the continent, the revolutionary parties that once commanded universal respect are now facing unprecedented rejection from the people they once claimed to liberate. Young voters are turning away. New opposition forces are rising. And most damning of all, the myth of the liberation hero is fading into political irrelevance. In South Africa, the ANC is bleeding support year after year, riddled with corruption scandals, internal factional warfare, and declining service delivery. Unemployment has skyrocketed, load shedding has become a way of life, and the public no longer buys the idea that a party that freed the country from apartheid must be trusted to lead forever. The 2024 elections brought the party below the 50% mark for the first time since 1994, forcing it into an awkward coalition under the banner of a government of national unity. The writing is on the wall, and it's written in bold. In Zimbabwe, ZANU-PF continues to grip onto power by any means necessary. The party has turned elections into theatrical exercises of control. Even with economic collapse, runaway inflation, and political repression dominating daily life, ZANU-PF hangs on, not through popularity, but through fear, patronage, and force. And yet, the international community is watching. The people are restless. And the age of blind allegiance to liberation rhetoric is clearly over. Mozambique's FRELIMO faces growing frustration over the insurgency in Cabo Delgado, accusations of elite enrichment, and youth disillusionment. In Angola, the MPLA remains deeply entrenched, but cracks are showing as opposition parties like UNITA gain ground, particularly among the youth who feel alienated from the party of José Eduardo dos Santos and his cronies. Namibia's SWAPO, once the pride of Southern African liberation, is now entangled in corruption scandals like the infamous fish rot saga, and the people are growing tired. Tanzania's CCM remains in control, but even there, growing voices of opposition signal that no ruling party is immune from the democratic tide that's sweeping the continent. So what did the summit hope to achieve? Officially, it was a call for unity among liberation movements, to reaffirm their ideological roots, strengthen collaboration, and reject what they describe as Western interference and opposition propaganda. The speeches were thick with phrases like revolutionary renewal, protecting the gains of independence, and countering neocolonialism. But behind those words was a deeper concern: how do we stay relevant in a world that's clearly moving on? The summit tried to project strength. But what it actually revealed was weakness. These parties are struggling to adapt to the 21st century. They are parties built for an era of war, guerrilla tactics, and anti-colonial fervor, not digital activism, job creation, and good governance. They wear the camouflage of liberation, but they are fighting a different kind of battle now, against unemployment, inequality, climate change, and a generation that no longer fears them or reveres them. What's particularly telling is how the summit avoided real introspection. Not one of the major leaders publicly acknowledged the failures of their parties. Not one took ownership of the corruption that has plagued their administrations. Not one stood up and said, "We have lost our way." Instead, the narrative was recycled, repackaged, and force-fed. "We fought for you, and therefore we deserve to rule." But young Africans are saying, "You may have fought then, but what have you done for us lately?" The rise of new political voices across the continent, young, tech-savvy, unafraid, has the liberation parties shaken. They are watching what happened in Zambia, where the youth swept Hakainde Hichilema into power. They are watching the bold defiance in Senegal, in Uganda, in Kenya. They are watching how social media is creating new battlegrounds where loyalty is earned, not inherited. And they know that their legacy is no longer enough. In reality, this summit was less about unity and more about survival. It was about creating a narrative that delays the inevitable. It was about crafting an illusion of relevance. But illusions don't win votes anymore. Not in a continent that is the youngest in the world. Not in an Africa that is tired of speeches and hungry for change. If these parties truly want to remain relevant, they must do more than invoke history, they must transform. They must root out corruption, deliver services, listen to their citizens, and open space for new voices. But that would require humility. That would require real reform. And that, unfortunately, was nowhere to be found at the summit. Instead, what we saw was a gathering of ghosts, parties haunted by their own past glory, unable to face the present, and blind to the future. Unless they wake up soon, the liberation movements that once freed nations may find themselves the ones needing to be liberated from power. Thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments what you think. Are liberation movements still relevant in today's Africa? Or is it time for a new generation to take the lead? Be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more bold, unfiltered coverage from across the continent. The revolution may have been televised, but the next chapter belongs to the people.